Have you ever had somebody ask you a simple question and it bothered you for the rest of the day? And it's not because it was rude, but maybe it triggered something in you to actually reflect and to answer something maybe you weren't ready to answer for yourself yet. What's up? It is your girl Jada, and welcome back to Gracefully Jada, where proximity is a privilege and our behavior decides whether we have privileges or not. And today I want to challenge you, because sometimes questions that people ask us in our lives are not necessarily offensive, they're revealing. And triggers don't always mean that something's wrong, but it's information that we have to pay attention to. Triggers invite us to be curious of ourselves, to identify what is still healing, to identify what hasn't been touched as far as in healing, or who hasn't triggered me in this way in a long time, or are there some relationships that I'm not facing the reality of? What we really need to be asking is this an unhealed wound, or is this an unmet need? Or is this a fear, or maybe a projection, or more importantly, avoidance? The goal isn't to judge yourself for being triggered, because we're all human. We can't choose when we're going to be triggered, but we can choose what we do in the meantime. But now that we're in a place of being triggered, why does this affect me so deeply? And that's what we're going to find out today. So we have 4 points today. And number 1 is triggers deserve curiosity, not necessarily reactions. When we're triggered, we go into protective mode. Sometimes our instincts is to project or to defend or to survive, shut down, be internal. And so when we're in this moment of survival, we have to really hone in and take inventory of what's happening here. Why do I feel like this? And when did I feel like this the first time? Usually triggers are echo of our original blueprint of where we've gotten hurt before. The ultimate goal of identifying where we are when we're triggered is, why did this land so deeply? Was it the person? Was it the tone? Was it the season that I'm in? And how do I get through this moment without completely collapsing emotionally or ruining relationships or opportunities and experiences because I'm unhealed in this area? Curiosity creates room for healing. Number 2, triggers often point to something that is unfinished. It could be a past relationship, it could be a past job or experience like we've said before. It could be unmet needs or hopes or desire or even grief that reminds us in the moment that, hey, I'm still struggling with this emotionally. And I would argue that some people don't know how to give themselves grace, to understand that they're living this life for the first time. And it's hard for them to be kind to themselves in a moment where they feel triggered and they're crying or they're angry or they're explosive or they shut down or they're passive, because it's just like, I should know how to operate in this area better. I should know how to have a more game face better when it comes to this person or the situation. I should never show weakness or vulnerability. And that's not the case. And literally, we kind of influence our own detriment to our mental health because we have unrealistic expectations of triggers that we have not faced. When we think about some of the things that are really touchy, like fear, abandonment, neglect, rejection, all of these things, and the fear and projection that everybody else can see or feel it too, or understand the shift that's going on within us, can cause us to operate in a way that we might not be proud of later. You have to remember that triggers are not the underlying problem. It just shows you that it's something underneath that we need to address and to be aware of when we're entering in certain environments. Not every uncomfortable question is an attack. And that's number 3. We have to remember that sometimes the questions that provoke us emotionally, sometimes it's telling us or contradicting a story that we've already told ourselves. It's clashing with the reality that we're trying to submerge ourselves in. And we have to be honest about how that's affecting our mental health and the relationships that we're operating in. When triggers often remind us, you know how sometimes you have a pain in your side or something like that, and you pause and you're all of a sudden hyper aware of what's going around in your surroundings. You're hyper aware of what's going on in your body because it's a pain that's causing your attention to pull you back to reality of, hey, we need to pay attention to this area. And so when we have people who are contradicting that story, who are asking questions, and then you have to ask yourself, is it the way that the question was asked? Was it the person who asked it? Was it the time that they asked it? And really, why did I react that way? So for example, if I said, wow, you're kind of gaining weight, you're kind of getting big. Now my tone wasn't really necessarily aggressive, right? but the information might have been hurtful, because I don't know what you're going through. I don't know if you tried to lose weight. I don't know if you tried to do dieting or go to mental health counseling to identify why you binge eat, or really, I don't know anything about your journey. But for me to present some information to you, just unwarranted probably, and you to kind of receive it, depending on where you're at in your mind and your own like confidence in your own journey of trying to lose weight, or if you don't even want to lose weight. I don't know if your family have kind of bullied you when you were younger about overeating, or comment a lot about your weight or how you look or your relationship status, and so many things can be bled into one question, or just overall like conversations. Some old wounds can bleed out if we're not monitoring how we feel. And depending on how I ask that, right? You look like you're trying to lose some, or not, you look like you're trying to lose some weight. You kind of getting big. Are you in the gym? If somebody went off on me because I said that, obviously that's warranted. Why? Because it's just like, you don't know. That's so rude. And the fact that you don't think that that's rude, we have to take into account that some people don't think the way we do. What we think is common sense, some people don't think that's common sense. And so you gotta remember, when you're having conversation and relationships with people, you cannot project what you have learned, how you operate, how you give, how you show up, even if you model it to them. You can't project that same reaction and consideration when it comes to interacting with you. But you can set boundaries. If somebody came to me and said, wow, you haven't been losing weight, well, if you're asking about my weight loss journey, I can give you some information, but really let's sit down and talk about how you approach that next time you want to talk to me about something concerning my weight journey. I don't feel really comfortable with you saying and phrasing it in that way. And if somebody gives me pushback, obviously they're not trying to meet me halfway when I'm communicating what helps me and supports me in this journey. If you really wanted to know, then there's a way you will receive a way that helps you to get the information that you're looking for, and that makes me feel comfortable to share that information. But you know what? 9 times out of 10, when we correct people on how to approach us, when we correct people on how to show up for us and how to request certain information, if they give you a pushback, truth is, they like how they come to you. They like how they step to you. They like getting reactions out of you. And that we have to take that power away. Because no, maybe everybody might not operate in the same way we might need them to, but your job is to communicate it. And if you don't communicate it, you cannot hold them accountable or responsible for that, especially if they don't know. And I know sometimes you'll be like, Jada, they know. They know. That's my sister, that's my cousin, that's my brother. They know me for years. But truthfully, what version of you do they know? Do they know the ones that if they step on the wrong pot of land, is it gonna blow up? Are you gonna go off? Are you gonna shut down? Are you gonna run away? And when we are really talking about advocating for ourselves, some of these things we've been passive in, some of these things we've let roll off our shoulder because of who these are. When I said at the beginning of the video, proximity is a privilege. It is a privilege, because you have to get close to me to trigger me. You have to get close to me to see my journey. You have to get close to me to have information that's accurate about me, right? So remember that the privilege that people have being close to you requires for you to educate them on what last season that worked, or last season I let that slide. This season, that's not going for it. You know what I'm saying? That's not how we're going to do it this season. And if you want to be in my future, if you want to be in the future seasons that I'm going to have in my life, then this is how I need you to operate. And if you choose not to, that's okay. Doesn't mean that I'm not worth it. It just means maybe you don't have the capacity, or maybe you don't like the restraint, or maybe you don't like the boundary. But it is what it is. And I can love you from a distance, and that's okay. Because I think sometimes we go from 0 to 100, especially when it comes to triggers. Like if you trigger me, I'm cutting you off, block, never talk to you again. And that's such an extreme behavior, especially people who you don't know what's going on in people's head too. You don't know if they got mental health issues and it's projecting on you, and it triggered you, you triggered them, and now y'all blew up. And it really was a good relationship that you guys had. It was just a miscommunication on how to show up for you in the season. Because what I could handle last season, I can't handle anymore. Because who I was last season, I have grown from that. And I'm trying to elevate into a different version of myself that helps me to survive and everything that comes my way, because we can't choose when we get triggered, right? But we can choose what we do in the meantime. And that is the responsibility of communication with everybody in our lives. Not over-explaining, communication. Number 4, our final point. Healing changes our reactions. One of the biggest signs that we're healing is not that life is stopping. It's not that we're not finding ourselves in hard situations. It's that we're changing how we approach them and react to them when we're hurt. When somebody touches that wound that nobody was supposed to see or touch or get close to, how do I react? What do I lean into? What does the emotion in my body filter as now? So for example, if somebody triggered me and I had a hard conversation, I had a long day, what am I leaning into? Am I going to go get some fast food and go eat and pig out and then go to sleep because that helps me feel good? It gives me a little high, and then I get to go to sleep and take a break from my reality? Is that lashing out? Is that shutting down? Is that going for a walk? Is that going to work out? Is that going to get me a massage? Because you might need to really be in your body and be in touch. And guys, I don't want you to think that healing and therapy isn't a hard journey. You have to be intentional with the longest relationship you've ever had, and that's within yourself. And that's not always easy, because you know every single thing that you've been through. And some of the things that we've been through, we've kind of blacked out. We've kind of erased with the marker because it carries too much emotional weight. It carries too much shame, rejection, neglect. And it bleeds into how we operate with people who have originally hurt us, right? And it's just an echo. Even if it's not the person who hurt us originally, it is a reminder within our bodies, if we're not really being intentional of what's going on in our bodies, that hey, I could get hurt in this way again. And now that I'm older, now that I know how the episode plays out, I'm gonna get ahead of it before anything happens, right? I'm gonna self-sabotage, I'm gonna cut them off, I'm gonna neglect them, I'm gonna abandon them, I'm gonna cause issues within their own life. And it's not for me to manage, but you know, they shouldn't trigger me in that way, so I gotta go. And that also keeps you away from pain, but it also keeps you away from love and experiencing a different outcome than what you're used to. It's a projection of pain and trying to avoid things that you have not confronted and been real about with yourself. So now we have your reflection questions, and I'm gonna check if you did them. So number 1, what question keeps bothering you long after the conversation has ended? Number 2, what emotion shows up first? Anger, sadness, fear, embarrassment, or shame? And number 3, if you got curious instead of defensive, what might that trigger be trying to teach you? The goal is not to be someone who doesn't get triggered, but to be a person who is willing to listen to what that trigger reveals. Healing is not about pretending things don't affect you. And isolation is not an indication of, hey, I'm healed, because nobody is around you to trigger you or to reflect some of the things you still have to do within yourself. It is an invitation for you to be aware of what you need in that moment in real time. Learn how to communicate, learn how to really filter your emotions in a healthy way that doesn't hurt you or anybody else. This is truly all about not being in autopilot, okay, or survival mode, because now you're safe. And I know it doesn't feel like you're safe. Sometimes it feels like I'm still that 5-year-old. Sometimes it still feels like I'm 16. Sometimes it still feels like the same people who were bullying me when I was younger, or belittling me, or neglecting me, or affecting me in ways that they just did not care or couldn't see, or were struggling with in their own lives. Now that I have the narrative, do I kind of almost punish the people who are presently here because of the people who were there in the past? And now I actually get to fight back. I get to ignore people, stonewall them, shame them, get angry, or abandon them, or neglect them, or shut down, or explode. And truthfully, it's an echo, and an echo to a response that you wish you could have given when you were younger. More times than not. But I think you have to be more self-aware and more out of the situation to be able to step out of your norm and your survival mode to be able to identify, wow, I have been trying to reparent or conquer what little Jada had to go through, what little Timmy had to go through. I'm trying to be there for them, right? I'm trying to survive and show up for them because nobody did it when I was younger. And sometimes we even project that on how we care for other people. Self-sabotage, self-sacrificing, self-deprecation, because why? I didn't have it, so at least you have it. But I'm still grieving because I don't have it. And so it's an intricate process, and this is what we're doing, the work right now. And so I want you to comment below. If any of it resonated with you, let me know. What is one thing you've been avoiding? What is one thing that your triggers have been telling you? And make sure you know that it's a safe place, okay? So make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I will see you next time. All right, bye.